Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the BTF podcast. That's the Back to Football podcast, the number one podcast for people who probably should talk about something other than football. Now, 40 is a huge milestone for us, and we'd first of all like to start by thanking all of our listeners and viewers that have been with us throughout the journey, and some of you that have sort of obviously joined along the way. We have a very good show coming up today with a pretty good Mount Rushmore based around a very popular Netflix show of the moment. I will first start by introducing my co-hosts for today. First of all, we have John Miller here from episode 1. How are you, John?
Very well, thanks, Dan. Very well.
Secondly, we have, I'll name these hosts as well in chronological order from when they first appeared on the BTF podcast during our 40 show run. We have Greg Hollands joining us.
How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm all well.
Bless you.
And thirdly, last but not least, we have our most recent member of the team, Levi, joining us from quarantine. How you doing, Levi?
Very well, thank you, Dan. Just, enjoying being trapped in the house.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you've been baking. Have you been baking?
Is that for the podcast? What kind of bacon are we talking about?
Getting baked.
I mean, it is now. I just find myself getting bored. So I'm just thinking of, I'm like, right, if I can't go to the shop and get something sweet, the only other option is to make it yourself. So been spending my time. I think the other day I made peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. So
Nice.
It was good. I'm sure my housemates loved it as well because there is none left. So
always a good sign.
If you get bored, start baking. Just trying to stay away from the banana bread at the minute. Don't want to be basic.
Yeah, no, exactly. Banana bread's been all over social media. There was actually Stand Up to Cancer Bake Off was on this week. I did watch that. It was pretty good with Russell Brand, John Lithgow.
I saw that clip of Russell Brand saying, I got 2 grams out just on instinct when he was measuring everything up.
Yeah, no, it was good. Greg, as an Essex boy yourself, what's the general Essex feeling on Russell Brand? Is he one of your own?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's one of the lads. He's a good lad. He's a good man. His stand-up is pretty good. I don't know if you watched his most recent one on Netflix. It's probably a year old now. It's really, really good. I think it went under the radar.
Yeah, no, I like him. I'm a big fan of Russell Brand. John, you like Russell?
I do. What was his first thing? Was it Big Brother's Little Brother or something?
Big Brother's Big Mouth.
Yeah, one of those things.
Big Mouth was it?
Yeah.
Big Mouth, yeah. Yeah, he was pretty funny on that. That was probably his big break, right? I don't remember seeing him before then.
Yeah, I think, he'd had a few smaller things. He worked for MTV just before that. But let's get away from Russell and onto another eccentric wild man that's taken the world by storm in the past month. There's some timing here that was, quite frankly, godly if you're a producer of this show. But quarantine struck and Tiger King was released on Netflix, the story of Joe Exotic and the crazy world of big cat owners in the USA. And we're going to do a Mount Rushmore today on characters from the Tiger King series. Now we're each going to pick 4 people who we would like to have on our team. And we're going to frame this as though we're going into a zombie apocalypse here. Who are you taking on your team? And we've already drawn lots for the order in which we're going to go. And Levi, you are up first. So who's your first pick on your Tiger King team?
I am going to have to. Do I get 1 or 2 picks?
Just 1.
Okay.
For now.
I'm going to go for the hitman. What's his name? I forgot his name.
Alan.
Yeah, you have to. Like, he literally just looks like a hitman. He's got the perfect look, and obviously he's been about that crime life. So I definitely back him to be able to like pull me through the zombie apocalypse. If everything was going downhill, he'd be the one to be able to pull out the stops to keep us save. I reckon you got to chuck him in there. 100.
Alan Glover is his name. Okay, I'm going to write that down then for you. Alan is your first one. John, you are up next. Who's your first pick?
Can't believe Levi didn't jump into this one. It has to be Mario Tabru. How do you say his name? Is it Tabru?
Tabro. Yeah, Tabru.
Yeah,
Tabraue.
Yeah, he's the gangster, isn't he? He's the top. He was the top dog.
He was.
Wasn't he?
He went
was
to
the top
prison.
dog and he went to jail, didn't he? Yeah.
He went to jail for cutting up, or like, didn't someone get cut up on his land or something like that? It was an FBI agent that his friends had killed. Probably
the Scarface of the big cat world.
Yeah,
he's dubbed.
Yeah, probably a pretty good person to have on your team. Okay, so Mario is your first pick. I think I got to take this guy as my first one. I just think that he is possibly the most powerful person in the whole Tiger King series, and I'm going to have to go for Dr. Bhagavan Antal. He's a smart guy. He's got land. We could hide out on his land. He's going to come in with the elephant that's going to come along as well. He could be really useful in
got about 3 wives, isn't he?
In a zombie situation. Yeah, at least 3. 3
at
and
least
counting.
3, yeah.
But yeah, this guy is going to be my first on the team, Doc Antle. So Greg, you've now got 2 picks.
Controversial one, but I thought about it. I'm assembling a team of bastards, basically. It's an apocalypse. It's an apocalypse. There's no rules. You need people that aren't gonna, they're trapped by civilization and society. So now they're unleashed. I'm going with Jeff Lowe. Going with Jeff Lowe because he's going to negotiate. He's going to be a scumbag. He's going to bring that shithousery that I need to survive. He's going to be crucial in my survival. Jeff Lowe is my first pick. My second pick is definitely Eric. He's an absolute madman. And sometimes you need a little bit of madness to get through these things. He was the one that was pouring petrol into a canister with a lit cigarette in his mouth, saying, "Don't do this at home, kids." I think that he's a madman. I think that he's what you need. He's got that out of the box thinking. They're the 2 on my team so far.
Eric Cowie is his name. The guy that was sat outside his trailer on the on one of those kind of camping chairs. I'll flash up.
The best thing about Eric is that he was just like, "Oh yeah, I feel like the cats have a sick sense. Like I can talk to the cats. Like they trust me." I think that's such a sick reason to have him on your team. You just be able to. He can set the cats on someone.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, go for it.
It's like a Dr. Dolittle of the big cat world. I think my second pick, I'm going to have to take the main man himself, Joe. I think he gets on okay with Doc Antle. Obviously, at the end of Tiger King, there was a little bit of snitching going on. He seemed like he maybe had turned on Doc, but I think for the majority of the show, Joe certainly looked to Doc as some sort of mentor. So I'm kind of looking at leadership on my team here, and obviously Joe Exotic's going to bring a lot of razzle dazzle to the team, some of those outfits. So yeah, I'm taking, and the music as well. Music for the good times is always a nice one. I saw a tiger. So yeah, Joe Exotic is my pick 2, and that takes us back to John.
I'm going to go for Joe's nemesis, the big woman herself, the survivor, Carole Baskin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She is a survivor. She won the war. She won the war against Joe, so that bodes well. She killed her husband, got away with murder, fed him to the tigers. She's a slippery fish, and she'll definitely be very, very handy in a tricky situation. She's a winner.
I think that's good. Do you know what? For me, one of the craziest things about Carole Baskin through the whole thing is that Carole is spelt with an E on the end of it. For me, that just blows my mind. After everything else,
the worst thing.
The husband killing, the tigers, the everything, Carole with an E just doesn't sit well with me. So yeah, Greg. Oh no, sorry, Levi. You got 2 picks now.
I've just got to, just for the sheer fact that I think he was class in the whole thing. I've got to take John Renke. I've got to.
That's my next one.
And a bonus as well. He's just got weapons for days. He can take off one of his legs, and that's a weapon right there.
He's got a gun on it. Yeah.
Well, if the zombies go for his legs, he's going to be surviving, isn't he?
He's literally he'll be so fun. And one that a lot of people I don't reckon would pick, I'd actually pick Don Lewis.
Oh yeah,
the man's
Don
got
Lewis.
Secret millions that's keep quiet from everyone else. He can fly planes, so he can get us out of there if he needed to. And yeah, I just thought if he was secretly just that guy, So I'd have to pick Don Lewis as well.
I think. What are your thoughts on Don? Do you think that he was a drug trafficker? There's a lot of conspiracy theories around that he wasn't going to Costa Rica for a love affair. He was smuggling drugs. I
reckon he's definitely just chilling in Costa Rica because he found out that Carole was just a crazy bitch. And he just wanted to settle down. He's probably getting old.
Nice. Yeah, he's chilling with Paolo Wanchop in Costa Rica. So, John, you've now got a pick.
Okay, so I'm going to go for Tim Stark. Tim Stark, yeah, can't go wrong with a Stark. He brought the money in, didn't he? He funded Jeff Lowe, brought a load of exotic cats. So you can just see he's got the wealth, he's got the vision, he's got the strategy. So yeah, I think that'd be a good person to have on my team.
Funnily enough, Jeff Lowe did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and one of the questions that came in for him was, who is the craziest? But I think someone said, are there any other crazy big cat people in America that didn't feature in the documentary? And he said, not really, but the person that has the craziest backstory that's not really featured in the documentary is Tim Stark. So yeah, I think he's got a few skeletons in his closet, but I think that comes in handy when you're fighting zombies.
He was in the Louis Theroux documentary.
He was.
It was explored a little bit more in that, and he came across awfully in that documentary.
Yeah. Is he the guy that had the baboon?
He had the baboon, and he had the bears that were like shit scared of him. And he was like, oh yeah, I've taught them. It's like, no, you beat them senseless. Like the bears were flinching at him, walking towards him. It was horrible to see, really. And they were skinny, and wasn't liking it.
Yeah,
he was the one that brought out the massive tiger, and Louis was like, what are you doing, mate?
His argument for the whole thing was that, tigers and all animals don't actually want to be wild. So, a lion might travel 25 miles in a day. His argument is, if a lion could just stay in one place and have food handed to it, that's what a lion would want to do. So basically no animal wants to roam freely. He's a pretty bad guy.
Oh, he's a moron. He's a moron.
I have got my next pick here. I just need to check on the name. This is a tough one, actually. I'm going to go for Joshua Dial, who was the comms manager or the campaign manager for Joe Exotic. Again,
so Dan.
looking for people that fit into my team. Obviously, this guy looks up to Joe. Joe looks up to Doc. I think this guy could do some of the kind of the tactical recon in a post-apocalyptic world, and he was kind of ride or die in the end. So I think he's a good guy, and he's got knowledge of guns as well because he did sell guns for Walmart, and that's how he met Joe. So he's my third pick. Levi. Oh no, sorry, Greg. Now, Greg, you got two more picks.
Two more. Okay, I would go Rick Kirkman, the reporter, the one that was making the documentary on Joe. I feel like he's got that real Clint Eastwood sort of, again, a little bit of out of the box thinking. I can imagine him being a bit cold hearted if he needs to be. That hat just says it all. It's a very apocalyptic look that he's got going on. I think he also looks like he's about 165 years old. So I think he might survive anything.
So
So
cigarettes
I'd
that's
have
doing
him,
that to him.
exactly, yeah, I'd have him on my bastard squad for sure. And secondly, to finalise my grouping, I would actually have Anne McQueen. Anne McQueen, of
Okay.
course, being Don's personal assistant. I feel as though she had a real loyalty to Don, and in those circumstances, we need loyalty. I feel like we've got a bastard squad, but she would be the one doing all the admin, doing all of the stock check, and keeping us all together.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna go for this is my my mountain if we're quantifying this in Game of Thrones terms. I'm gonna take the big man Travis Maldonado. Again, fits into my team quite nicely. He'll do anything for Joe. Not the best guy when it comes to firearms, but we will. John's not going to laugh at that one. We will, make use of his big frame. So yeah, Travis Maldonado is my fourth pick on my team, which brings us on to John. Who's going to be your fourth pick?
So I'm going to go for loyalty. I'm going to go for probably one of the most loyal people in the whole show, the whole series, and that is it Kelsey, the woman that got her arm bitten off and came back to work. Yeah, Saf. She came back to work. Literally, 5 days, 7 days after getting her arm severed. If that ain't loyalty, I don't know what is. And with my team of bastards and criminals, you need some loyalty in there. Someone that's not going to rat them out, someone that's always going to be there. Arm or no arm, she's ready to go.
Nice. You're 50-50 male-female split as well in your team, which is good. Very representative. So
just to bear in mind, Saf does identify as a man.
Oh,
okay.
Cool.
Well,
Didn't know that.
He does identify as a man. They revealed that in the final episode, and she was asked, he was asked,
is that the
frustrated?
Is that the extra,
is that the extra
episode?
one?
Yeah.
I've not seen that. So I retract my gender statement.
Yeah, so he was asked, "Are you frustrated that in the whole series you're spoken about as a female?" But yeah, I'll give you guys a chance obviously to watch it. But yeah, he does identify as a male.
Okay.
And I'm actually quite annoyed at John for picking Kelsey, because I was going to pick Kelsey myself, and now I'm going to have to go for someone that's probably a bit lesser. No one appeals to me. I'm going to have to go with John Finley then. Filmed the whole series topless. Was that right? Is that the right person?
Yeah.
Filmed the whole series topless with probably about 3 teeth. But that being said, I think he'd be a useful person to have. I like that he didn't give everything away. I don't really feel like we got to find out too much about him. So I thought he was quite secretive. So I reckon behind closed doors, I think he's quite a strong character. And obviously, if you watch the final episode, get a chance to watch the final episode, you'd be able to see he's got a lovely pair of dentures now. So he's got a full mouth of teeth, and he's got a very, very interesting new facial hair feature as well. But you find out a lot about him as a character, and he even goes on to explain how when that was filmed, he's portrayed as a drugged up hillbilly. But he said he'd actually been 5 years clean, so he's obviously got a good amount of mental strength. So I think that'll be useful to have on my team.
Nice. So that completes our team. So to recap, Levi, you've got Alan Glover, John Renke, Don Lewis, and John Finley. John, you've gone for Mario, Carol, Tim, and Saf. I've got Doc, Joe Exotic, Josh Dial, and Travis Maldonado. And Greg is left with Jeff Lowe, Eric Cowie, Rick Kirkman, and Anne McQueen. Interestingly, no one took the FBI informant, Chucky Doll man, James Garretson.
way.
We don't,
No
Snitches
way.
get
we don't
stitches.
trust these snakes.
And no one took any of Doc Antle's wives, so maybe they'll probably appear in my team at some point in this apocalypse. You can bring them along. You can summon them from wherever we are in the world.
I'm just fuming that no one picked Jeff Lowe's nanny.
Yeah, the new nanny. Apparently he's got two. Apparently he's got two new nannies.
You get to see the new nanny in the last episode, and she's not ugly.
There we go. Also, no one picked Carole Baskin's new husband. He's ride or die. He's pretty loyal.
Wet white.
No, he's a bit wet.
blanket.
Good
He's
legal
a bit
background.
wet. And also, the only reason why he's alive is because he's submissive.
He's a beta
Yeah.
male.
Anyone that agrees for their wedding picture to be put on a leash, you're out. You're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on my team.
All right, we'll take that. So, yeah, you can head over to our Instagram page to vote for who you think has the best team, which team you would ideally want to be with in a post-apocalyptic zombie world. I certainly know who I'm picking, and that's my team. So that's not no bias there, but yeah, Doc Antle, he's got connections. He's the bad man in the whole thing. Let's move away from Tiger King and talk a little bit about boxing quickly. AJ calling out Tyson Fury today. John and Levi are sort of resident boxing experts on the show. Thoughts on that? I'll head to you first, John.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of old news, really. I think he's been calling him out for quite a while, to be fair. I think after the Povetkin fight, I think he might have done it as well. Quite a few fights at the end, he's kind of called him out. He's wanted that fight for a long time. I think he actually came out at the end of one of those fights and said he didn't want to do it at the time, around the time that just before, a few months before he fought Tyson Fury fought Wilder, because he thought let him kind of have a few fights. He didn't want to beat him in that state that Wilder tried to beat him in. He wanted to kind of wait. So I think he's done that. That's happened. He's had 4 or 5 fights since he's come back, and I think we're ready for it. Obviously we're in a situation now where there's not much sport going to be happening, but hopefully we get through to the end of that. And yeah, they need to dig deep in their pockets. They need to get that step aside money out for Wilder, because he is going to want a lot of money to step aside. In fact, I think that's going to be quite a tough one. I think the Pulev one, the step aside, will be a lot easier to make because Pulev doesn't really want that fight. He ducked it a few years ago, which is why he ended up fighting Carlos Takam, because he was the next in line, because Pulev didn't take that fight. So that would be I think that would be easier, a few million there, and he'll be out. He'll step aside. But Deontay Wilder is after the way how he was kind of going in on AJ about kind of saying that he's got to step back in and take that rematch. He's not gonna not do that. So I think we have to wait a little bit longer for that fight. But it's definitely the fight that all boxing fans and casuals, hardcores, whoever, sports fans are going to want to see. I'll definitely be paying my pay-per-view subscription for that.
Levi?
Again, I massively have to agree with John. The only thing I would say though is I think Joshua coming out is slightly different from what he'd normally do, because normally it's almost customary for fighters to look to the next fight at the end of a fight. But whereas this was almost like everyone's almost like chilled out in terms of they're in quarantine and stuff like that, and they have to think of their next move. I think it's saying something, because Joshua spoke a lot about. He was speaking about the Wilder fight. Didn't almost. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. I've lost track of what I was trying to say. But Deontay Wilder, I don't think will step aside, just as John said as well.
Yeah.
There's no way that he will let his pride take a hit. If he's firing his trainer for throwing in a towel, his pride already taken a massive hit. And I don't think he'll allow himself to take another massive L, basically, because that's exactly where we'll be, in not taking up the fight. He's even gone as far as to say that if he loses that fight, then he'll probably retire.
Nice. Greg, if that fight happens, then who are you backing? Who wins?
I don't know. It's a difficult one.
Within 1 minute or so.
Fury. I think Fury can bring the heat.
Nice. We're fast approaching the end of the show. Sorry not to give you as much leeway on that. Quickly then, last topic, which we've got to cover in about 90 seconds here. We've got Spurs, new stadium. And Greg, I'll let you obviously start on this one. Naming rights. You mentioned there's a battle between Amazon and Nike for the naming rights. Who would you want to win it, and what are the potential names for the stadium?
Well, it sounded like Jeff Bezos is sort of leading those talks. I definitely think they would benefit us getting that Amazon money. It would also be quite nice for every Arsenal fan. Every time they make a purchase on Amazon, they're contributing towards us. Lovely stuff. The naming rights of the stadium is a fact of modern football, that stadiums are losing their touch, and they are called the Etihad, the Emirates, the this and that. So it will probably be the Nike Arena, Amazon Arena, something like that. Whatever it's called, it will always be White Hart Lane. So that really doesn't matter. But Nike have fucked up our kits for the last couple of seasons, so I'd much prefer Amazon to have that.
Nice. I do like the Warehouse. I thought that was a good one.
The Warehouse.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we'll probably leave it at that. John, Nike or Amazon, who would you prefer as a sponsor for the stadium?
What, for Spurs?
Yeah, it's a quick one.
Yeah, let them have Amazon. The Amazon Arena,
Amazon
Prime.
Arena. Yeah.
I don't know.
Prime Marina.
Prime Marina.
Yeah.
It sounds like a marina. Sounds like a boat should be there. Levi, which one? One or the other, one word?
I'd say Nike. Keep it on brand. Keep it sports related.
Nice.
It's got to be Nike.
Nike.
I would prefer, if it was Arsenal, I'd prefer Nike. But for Spurs, I'm saying they can have the Prime
Amazon.
Arena, because
Yeah.
it just sounds silly, or Amazon or whatever. They're just a silly club. Silly club, silly name.
Right. Okay. So we'll leave it at
Keep
that. That brings to a close episode 40 of the BTF podcast. Obviously, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening on Spotify and iTunes. And thanks for watching on YouTube. If you are still watching, hit that like and subscribe button. And we'll be back next week for episode 41. Thanks, guys.
Peace.